We'll now proceed into remarks from Kymone Freeman. Kymone Freeman is an award-winning playwright, founder of the Black Love Festival, WDC Mayor's Art Award finalist for Excellence in Service to the Arts in 2006. He is a founding board member for the nonprofits Words and Beats in Life and co-founder of Bum Rush the Boards, the largest annual youth chess tournament in WDC. He is a 2010 Green for All Fellow and co-founder of We Act Radio, DC's best social justice radio station. 2017 by Washington City Paper and first place PRNDI award winner. Currently, he is directing his first feature film, Patriotic Treason, the story of John Brown.
Peace and blessings. All right. When I say We Act Radio, y'all say do something. We Act Radio. We broadcast live on the radical side of Martin Luther King Avenue, and I'm here to represent the radical side of Martin Luther King. We must recognize that we can't solve our problem now until there's a radical redistribution of economic and political power. This means a revolution of values and other things. We must now see that the evils of racism, economic exploitation, and militarism are all tied together. You can't really get rid of one without getting rid of the others. The whole structure of American life must be changed. America is a hypocritical nation, and we must put our own house in order. The evils of capitalism are as real as the evils of militarism and the evils of racism. We are saying that something is wrong with capitalism. There must be better distribution of wealth, and maybe America must move toward a democratic socialism. Does it sound familiar? This is what we're talking about. The Atlantic magazine, great publication, has an article out right now. It's entitled The Second Assassination of Martin Luther King. Because they will have you believe that this man made only two speeches, I Have a Dream and The Mountaintop. And we need to realize that we got to fill in the blanks here. Otherwise, we are contributing to that second assassination of Martin Luther King if we don't do something. We have to acknowledge that this monument stands in a city that has the average white family with 81 times the wealth of the average black family. This monument stands in a city where it's the most dangerous city in all of America for a black woman of any economic, social background to give birth. This monument stands in a city where they allowed, east of the river, the blackest section still left in this gentrified city, to go without a bookstore for over 25 years. This monument stands in a city that, at the intersection of Martin Luther King Avenue and Malcolm X Avenue, in the midst of a food desert, has 7 liquor stores in 1 block radius. October 16th is an important day to me because it's the anniversary of Harper Ferry, John Brown, the first Civil War. It's also the anniversary of the Million Man March, the largest event ever held in the nation's capital. Very peaceful, unlike January 6th. I think King is feeling me right there. But it's also the first day of my freedom after I got fired from my good government job with benefits for speaking out. I could have bitten my tongue when I heard this racist comment. I could have let it go from a congressman's wife, but I challenged it. And I lost everything in doing that and challenging that. But in having lost everything at that time, I gained everything that I have now. So it's a question of what we're willing to do. You know, it's also special for me to be here today because 10 years ago, the first time I ever got a media pass representing We Act Radio was for the MLK Memorial Monument celebration. And it was born under hurricane conditions, so everything was moved inside the convention center. So I'm in the convention center, and during that time, there was a luncheon held for whatever fraternity King belonged to. And the luncheon was sponsored by the FBI. And the assistant director of the FBI in 2011 comes on to the podium and to say that the FBI supports the dream of Martin Luther King. And to a round of applause. And only me and one of the camera guys like, you hear this? responsible for the assassination of Martin Luther King. Let's call a spade a spade. The reason why Martin Luther King is here and was taken off the stage because he broke ranks with the Lyndon B. Johnson administration, which means he lost his protection, and they turned the FBI loose on him. He made a speech April 4th, 1967 that broke those ranks, and he lost that protection. That's why he was taken off the stage April 4th, 1968. And ever since then, we've been very hesitant to break ranks because we have our comfort. Also at that monument dedication, I met a young lady. Her name was India Arie. Perhaps you heard of her. I was doing one of my first interviews, and I asked her, India Arie, I said, what's your favorite quote from Martin Luther King? She stumbled. I don't know. I can't think of anything, but I tell you, I'm the manifestation of his dream. I'm like, boo-boo. His dream was not for a dark-skinned, nappy-headed black woman to have a successful career and challenge the westernized ideology of what beauty is supposed to be. That was not his dream. Nina Simone beat you to that. Because she felt that her success was his dream. That was not his dream. Yes, he wanted us to have better health care, better housing. He wanted to have justice. But he said that we must change the structure of America, not rest on our laurels. So I'll leave you with this. Y'all familiar with Harry Belafonte? Harry Belafonte was disinvited to Coretta Scott King's funeral. Did y'all know that? Because they had to make room for George Bush. And he was critical of the Bush administration, but they had to be comfortable. Harry Belafonte paid for Martin Luther King's children to go to school. Harry Belafonte paid off Coretta Scott King's house, but he was disinvited for their comfort. This is what we have to call out right here if we're truly going to honor the real legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King, because at the time of his death, there was churches that wouldn't allow him to speak in it. Black churches wouldn't allow him to speak in it. People we respect denounced Martin Luther King. So let's tell the whole story and not just do what's comfortable. All of us are familiar with Martin Luther King's last speech, but some of us are not as familiar with his next to his last speech, which was titled, Remaining Awake During a Great Revolution. He goes on to say in that speech, was delivered right here in Washington, D.C., March 31st, 1968, that far too often people find themselves living in periods of great social change, but yet they fail to develop new ideas, the new mental responses that the new situation demands. They end up sleeping through a revolution. I submit to you that is the definition of stay woke. One of the last messages from Barbara Dick Gregory, who was one of the people that marched with Martin Luther King. Everybody marched with King, right? Everybody marched with King. But somebody really was there. But Harry Belafonte said his last conversation with Martin Luther King was addressing his regrets over integration. Because y'all do know when he said that I had a dream, he later said, I think that dream has turned into a nightmare. He said he was wondering if he was encouraging his people to integrate into a burning house. Harry Belafonte said, well, what should we do? Martin Luther King said, become firemen. We got to put the fire out. And if we're not putting the fire out and we're just going to sit here and watch the house burn from afar because it's more comfortable, then shame on us. Because we're not honoring the true legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King. And to these young people, I want y'all to understand that even though we're in a system right now that promised you $42 billion for your education and now has taken it down to $2 billion for someone else's comfort, you should not accept that. We should not accept that. And we just lost Melvin Van Peebles, and I want to give you something he gave to me, and hopefully it will help you. Melvin Van Peebles said that in life you got two choices. Have what you want or do what you want. If it's have what you want, there must be some things you must be willing to do to have those things. And that's a slippery slope, ain't it? If it's do what you want, there's some things you're not going to have in order to have the ability and the freedom to do those things. So when we at Radio Broadcasting Live on the Radical side of Martin Luther King Avenue, we say do something. We are actually saying to step outside your comfort zone and do something. Stay safe, stay strong, stay woke, honor the real legacy of Martin Luther King, and do something. Thank you.